Recently, the Herobrine mod has made a comeback, with dozens of YouTubers creating series where Herobrine has taken over their worlds, and with hundreds of thousands of downloads, Herobrine really is taking Minecraft by storm again. However, this is not the original Herobrine mod, but a newer and very well made mod called From the Fog instead. Which begs the question, what ever happened to the first Herobrine mods? Who created them and how did they work? And how did they shape Herobrine as we know him today? Well, to figure that out, we need to go back to December 2010, as that's when a player called T. Kelly would make a post to the HMod forums showcasing a new mod, or rather plugin, they had just made. To give some context, HMod was an old Minecraft server software created by a player called HeyZero. It was basically how Minecraft servers used plugins and modifications all the way back in 2010 during Minecraft Alpha, and predated Bukkit and Spigot. Anywho, T. Kelly's post was very ominous and mysterious, by intention of course, with the only information related to what the mod would actually do being evident in its name. T. Kelly showcases the plugin in a video on their channel from the same day, whereby Herobrine talks in chat, and T. Kelly proceeds to flounder away in a cave for 3 minutes and die, to which this screenshot is present at the end of the video. A day later, T. Kelly would upload another video, this time where Herobrine can be seen in the distance, and then begins digging and seemingly spawning creepers in his path. In the video, we can see that Herobrine is able to dig strange tunnels, which makes the first video make more sense, and he can also occasionally place redstone torches, even seeming to build what looks like a dungeon at the very end of his path. We can see in a third video released one day later where T. Kelly pretends to actually encounter Herobrine in the world, that Herobrine now had the ability to teleport behind the player and then disappear, while also rapidly changing the time of day to night and then back to day again. Because night was pitch black in Alpha, this actually would have been relatively scary back then. Interestingly though, there didn't seem to be any way to actually summon Herobrine in these early versions of the mod, another intentional feature, although later the famous Herobrine shrine would be added in an update. I'm sure you've all seen this before, a small gold pyramid with redstone torches, mossy cobblestone and netherrack, of which you could activate to summon Herobrine to your server. And it was this update that would cause the plugin to gain some serious popularity. One video uploaded in January 2011, only 3 weeks after the plugin's release, where a player showcases how to summon Herobrine, has racked up over 3.4 million views. Interestingly, the video has quite a lot of dislikes, which is because players didn't know this was a mod or plugin. You see, many players at the time had never heard of HMod or even played multiplayer at all, and as such, many people thought these videos where players would summon and encounter Herobrine using the plugin's features were real Herobrine sightings. It's a situation like the Aether mod, where the mod became so popular, players thought it wasn't a mod at all, and would try to build the portal and shrine in normal vanilla Minecraft. In fact, I bet that many of you recognize this Herobrine altar, but have never actually used the plugin. Most of you probably thought it was a mod as well, not a plugin. Just goes to show how popular Herobrine was at the time. Unfortunately, many of the early versions of this plugin are completely lost to time, with the earliest known version available being a version made for beta 1.7. And the reason this is very unfortunate is due to the mod behaving differently in earlier lost versions, reflecting how Herobrine's myth was interpreted at the time. For example, in older beta versions where you used to be able to climb ladders with a gap between them, Herobrine would create these long vertical tunnels, and if you pursued him down them, you would end up finding diamonds. However, this was not a kind gesture from Herobrine, as not long after arriving at the end of this tunnel, he would place a sign saying subscribe to the Mr. Epic, no pressure, and if the players did not subscribe, he would probably disappear and then replace the blocks with stone, suffocating them. For the time, the plugin was very cool, and you can imagine clueless players who heard of the legend of Herobrine from friends or forum posts likely freaking out upon joining random servers and getting messages from him or encountering him out of the blue. What's interesting about this plugin is how it influenced the Herobrine mythos we know today. Prior to this plugin, Herobrine was never known to place redstone torches, yet after, players regularly would report seeing redstone torches in caves around their worlds, or having their own torches replaced with redstone torches torches when recounting their Herobrine stories. After the popularity of the first ever Herobrine game modification, many other modders and plugin creators would create their own versions of Herobrine, a lot copying the original as well. There's even versions made years later, still clearly taking inspiration from the original Herobrine altar, but where players made changes based on their interpretations of the Herobrine legend. Here's a version of the mod where Herobrine instantly spawns in using the same shrine, talks differently and immediately sets the player on fire, and even has a diamond sword. Here's another example where for some reason charged creepers which did no damage used to spawn upon summoning Herobrine. It's quite interesting to see how one plugin managed to shape the Herobrine legend so much and spawn so many other copies, yet the original has been mostly forgotten and lost. In fact, after a mere few months in July 2011, T. Kelly's plugin had fallen into obscurity, and was even considered old by players at the time, with individuals taking it upon themselves to update it, as they couldn't seem to find any information or downloads for it. In mid-2011, a few months after T. Kelly's plugin had swept across the internet and had been forgotten, another player decided to do something a bit different. Burner released one of the first Herobrine mods in July of 2011, no longer a plugin requiring a server, but a client-side mod you could install to encounter Herobrine in your own single-player worlds. It's important to note that Burner wasn't the first to add Herobrine to single-player Minecraft, but definitely did it the best, at least compared to other mods at the time. Now, this is probably the mod many of you actually remember or used yourself in the past, as it would be included in dozens of mod packs with many videos made on it. Interestingly, just like T. Kelly's plugin, the mod did not originally have a method of summoning Herobrine, but after the players kept asking for one, Burner would implement a method of doing so. And this right here is the famous Herobrine totem. Now, officially the last version of this mod ever made was for 1.7.10, although it was continued by another modder for some later versions, and just like T. Kelly's plugin, there were many modders who remade it or took inspiration from it. Herobrine could be summoned using a similar structure to T. Kelly's plugin, but in this mod you would build a totem out of 2 gold blocks, a special Herobrine totem block, and a block of netherrack, completing the summoning by lighting the top netherrack block on fire. Upon doing so, it seemed like not much would happen, but then as you continue on, Herobrine begins spawning in randomly, talking in the chat to you backwards, spawning hostile mobs, and even corrupting passive mobs, giving them his gloomy white eyes, which would blow up when you killed them. In this version of the mod, we can clearly see how Herobrine had gone from ghost or mythical-like creature to a boss-type creature. He would smack you around, spawn clones of himself, leave signs and set you on fire as well. You weren't scared of this version of Herobrine because you didn't know when you might see him or encounter him, but rather you were scared because he would constantly appear in front of you and kill you with various attacks. This does reflect how Herobrine was changing at the time in the Minecraft community though. From 2013 to 2014, many Minecraft animations, songs, and parodies all featured Herobrine as the main antagonist of their stories, giving him the reputation of the final boss of Minecraft, and because of that, his ghost-like original form was often forgotten. Basically, Herobrine mods began turning Herobrine into another Minecraft mob or boss, rather than the mysterious ghost he was always meant to be. Dozens of Herobrine mods would be released over the years, since both T. Kelly and Burners, but none would truly capture the nature of Herobrine like T. Kelly's original plugin did, at least none that received widespread popularity, until 2023. Earlier this year, the From the Fog mod would release, and since has rapidly gained popularity. From the Fog aimed to add Herobrine to the game in a way true to the legend. Rather than add him as a powerful mob that could be immediately summoned, Herobrine acts as a supernatural ghost-like figure, only occasionally letting you know of his presence, often without you even realizing. Herobrine behaves very lore accurate in this mod, able to build small pyramids, redstone torch tunnels just like T. Kelly's plugin introduced, mind you, can mine around you in caves, take your torches, regularly jump scare you, stalk you and appear near you, amongst a variety of other configurable behaviors. Herobrine can even corrupt passive mobs just like Burner's original mod introduced. And paying homage to T. Kelly and Burner, the mod even allows you to build a similar Herobrine shrine and totem to provoke Herobrine if you wanted to. The mod is really well made, and as such has sparked many series which are getting millions of views on YouTube, just like the many Herobrine mod showcases and series did many years ago now. What I personally liked most about this mod is that you don't really know when or where Herobrine is going to appear. It does a great job of building up suspense and tension and reminding us all why we were so scared of a creature we had never even seen ourselves all those years ago. With default settings, Herobrine won't even start showing up in your world until it's been 3 in-game days, and as such, you kinda forget about him altogether until he inevitably does make his first appearance and scare the absolute shit out of you. It really does emulate all the old tales of Herobrine and how he would only make an appearance once or twice, with players never seeing him again after, and it's honestly surprising to me that it took this long for such a mod to be made. I personally am enjoying the Herobrine renaissance we are seeing on the internet now. Be sure to subscribe, thank you all so much for watching.